Hey, John.
Hi, hon.
Hey, good morning.
Morning. You haven't responded to any of the mail.
Oh, I saw it. Okay, my bad.
Good.
I saw you put it on top of the agenda. And
Well, I shouldn't put it on top of the agenda. You two should.
yeah, I know.
Hi, this is Mani Gopal from Axiata.
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Maybe should...
Hey, John, did you fill in Han on the
Oh, yeah.
addition to the agenda?
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I have promoted the contribution to the first one.
Oh, great, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, John and I were talking. I suspect you had room on the agenda, so hope that wasn't too much of an inconvenience.
Can see my
Hello, guys.
yeah. Good morning. Can see my screen. I think
Yeah.
the first agenda item will be the contribution. So let
Yeah.
me stop sharing. Hold on. All right. I think we can start. So Manny, are you gonna share your screen?
Okay. Raghu is on his way. He's going to join.
Okay. So I like to go through the presentation and then go through the Google document that we've
Okay.
highlighted some issues with afterwards.
Do you want to do that first and then go into the document?
No. We can start with your document and then we can go to this one later.
Okay. Okay.
So is this actual SE presentation or is there only the document?
I'm sorry. So again,
Okay. In general, right? When you go to the SC, you have an SC presentation which is presented to them, and then you have a document which is referenced by the presentation. So do you have both or do you just have one?
So we have only one. Sorry. This is the first time we are presenting.
Okay, so that's why it'd be good for you to have gone through the hardware management project because we could have provide you guidance, because it doesn't sound like Rob provided you much guidance on how to present to the SC.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think now we've got 2 weeks before the next SC meeting. Is that correct?
Right.
Yeah, it's the 5th.
Okay. Yeah, because I would expect you want to take some of that and put into a slide deck for an SC presentation.
Okay. We'll do
So
that.
the presentation to the SC is to familiarize them with the contribution.
Okay.
So they know what is being contributed, what contribution type, and the highlights of a contribution. And then they have a context on which to review the document afterwards. So after the SC meeting and presentation, you go into a 1 to 2 week review cycle of the document. And then if there are no issues, or issues are found and then they're resolved, then you go into a ballot cycle with the SC. So without that presentation, the SC doesn't know what it's really looking at, and they will be unprepared to look at this document because they haven't got any context. The SC spans all of OCP. So you got networking people in there, you got data center people in there, you got a whole bunch of people in there who need that presentation to understand how much analysis they need, and who in their group, subproject, work streams might be interested in that, in providing feedback on that contribution. Okay.
Okay,
So
thank you.
after this, I think I need to work with you on a presentation for the SC.
Okay, thank you. We'll do that.
Okay, do you have everyone now?
Sorry?
Do you have everyone? Okay, yeah, if everyone's here, then we can go with the presentation, with going through at least the document.
Okay, thank you. So this is our effort to contribute our DCSCM vertical form factor adapter to the OCP. This is inspired by the OCP DCSCM 2.0 spec. So the DCSCM 2.0 spec defines a horizontal and vertical form factor, right? So vertical form factor is meant to be for the 2U servers. So this design is for a 1U form factor server using Axiada's TCU solution. Okay. So this is the content of the document. We start with the OCP tenets, compliance with OCP tenets. So physical specifications, thermal requirements, the IO system, the design spec, mechanical design of the mechanical form factor of the design, and power system, regulatory requirements, and all this. This we had taken the template from one of the OCP contribution, OCP template, and we organized the document based on that.
So can we go over to the, can you bring up the Google document, Han?
Yeah.
We can go over it. So we did at least our first pass, and that's second pass over this document. And I think Casper and Chen is here to address their issues. Yeah.
So yeah, Raghu already responded to some of them. So this form, this yeah, we do say it complies with the DCSM 2.0 one spec. But I think the form factor, as I mentioned, this is for a one new form factor. So it's strictly not following the vertical form factor defined in the OCP 1.0, I mean, the 2.0 spec. How do you like us to word it in the spec?
Yeah,
Well,
so
you need to go ahead, Casper.
yeah, so this is Casper. I think that there are two issues that I identified here. Is that the first one? It's not clear that what's compliant, what's not compliant. So maybe it's better to clearly define it, like it's compliant from pinout perspective and so on, connector perspective, but it's proposing a new VFF form factor that wasn't defined in 2.0 revision 1 and 2.1 update. Just to make it clear, right? Because the only concern here was that the reader might not be, might be confused because it's not clear enough, in my opinion.
And the only wording I would change is not to use the word proposed, but uses. So
Uh-huh.
unless your company is planning to go to a meeting and propose this as another vertical form factor in 2.2, then you basically took 1.0 and then defined a new form factor, vertical form factor. So it's use, it's not proposed because you're not proposing it to anybody. That makes sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
I mean, the other way to do this was you take a step back and you actually go through a proposal to SE and wait for 2.2 to come out and say, okay, we comply with 2.2, but I don't think you want to do that.
Right.
Okay,
Makes
so
sense.
that takes care of 2.1. So you just need to clarify that the vertical form factor is proprietary. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, we'll modify the document. Thank you.
Yeah, and those on those edge designs, that's only my speculation. It's you can ignore that if that wasn't intended.
One question, I mean, technically it's saying it's optimized for 1U, but it's way too tall. It's saying it's 40 millimeters, and usually it's about 31.5 millimeters is the maximum height. So I don't think it'll fit in a 1U.
Okay.
Also, there is an effort that is trying to, beyond, so contribute and call it, proprietary. There is an effort that we would like you to get involved with that's currently within the DCMHS, but then is going to be turned into a DC-SCM internal form factor for remote and embedded IO that looks remarkably similar to this. It is has some different dimensions on the and different Z proportions beyond the XY that gives it some different modular aspects for the IO that overcome the limited IO piece. So that effort is currently in MHS, and people are doing different layout studies for different combinations. But a couple companies proposed something that's very similar to this to ultimately be in the 2.2 or whenever the next revision of the SCM spec to get a internal for 1U and edge applications that don't have that fixed distance to the chassis wall.
Okay. We would be happy to join the discussions and contribute ourselves.
Okay. Item 2. So I don't know, are there thermal design constraints for DCSCM?
No, we don't have any thermal design constraints defined in the spec. So that was the reason for the question, right? Why is it included there?
Oh,
I was yeah, and I was a little bit maybe that's not relevant, right?
it's relevant. It's relevant if they believe it's useful information, which it probably is, right? They should go put it in the spec. And if DCSCM says, we've got all these wide-ranging thermal design points, we should really decide what thermal design point we want, then you guys can go figure that out. But right now, there's no constraint, no requirement. So they've just made a statement about what the thermal conditions is for their design. I think
Yes,
it's
so
fine.
this design is a very low power design. We are under our SOC is under 5 watts. The whole design is like less around 10 watts. So it's I think
and did
like
you
you said,
include? Sorry, Manny, did you include that in the spec? I don't recall those power date.
no, not yet. We will.
Yeah, and the reason I'm asking is that the DCSCM at least define those power envelopes, right? So if you want to refer to DCSCM spec, you might want to, unless those thermal design conditions are important in your spec, I would rather change those to how we are meeting the CSCM total power requirements. Right?
And especially if this form factor is intended for more edge applications, that's where that ambient gets much wider than what you claim. You need to
Yeah,
go down to like -40 C.
Yeah, that was my other comment, right? But sure how this requirement is defined within OCP, right? But for sure, in like Tim said, and on our side, it's similar, right? We have much wider requirements.
So just one question. Hi, this is Raghu here. Sorry, I'm joined late. What's this comment about edge versus, I don't know, whatever else? What, I don't know what you're guys doing. What's the background on that? This is for any generic server, whether it's edge, near edge, far edge, core, cloud, anywhere, right? I don't know what the distinction you're trying to draw.
I was commenting that above in this document, under number 1, I think it was referring to this is optimized for 1U and edge, I thought it said. And I was just pointing out that the temperature range that you show here would be challenged in some of the environments that I thought were being claimed. If now your Word document doesn't claim that, then there's no issue. It just,
Yeah, there's no
know.
implication about where it gets
Okay.
deployed. This is meant to be a generic standard. It can be 1U compatible, right? Deployed in the hyperscaler as well. As you know, several hyperscalers deploy 1U systems heavily in the cloud. So okay.
Thank you. Moving on to the LTPI, the next comment on the LTPI. Raghu, you want to highlight?
Yeah, so
Yeah,
Casper,
sorry, go ahead.
oh, I was just let Casper have it since he had the last comment, but you can talk to your comment. Thank you.
Yeah, so there is a little bit of a multiple personality thing, because I guess in the schematic that you see that we released, or the design files that we'll be releasing, the LTPI is not integrated in the SOC, but the final version of that is meant to. So we're describing that as though it's logically integrated, but initially it'll be separate. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it all makes sense, Raghu. I think that the comment was mostly to clarify that, and you don't need to include all those stepping details.
Okay, yeah,
definitely. But just to clarify that, you plan to enable LTPI as a native support, right? And that's
got it.
enough, I think.
Yeah, we'll add that comment. Thanks, Casper.
So you made a comment. So are you contributing design files also?
That was the intent, yeah.
Okay. See, that's why we need the presentation, because the presentation would say, hey, we have a spec, we have design files. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So item 4, I think it was easily addressed.
Yeah, so we will take care of that in the next edition.
And then so item 5.
OpenBMC firmware not applicable. Is Vijay on the call? Raghu, I don't see Vijay on the call.
Axiado definitely supports OpenBMC. Version 2.12 is what we support today. We need to look at this document to see where it says. Sorry, can you scroll up a little bit? What was the core issue? Can you go up a little bit? Sorry. So the issue is they skipped the OpenBMC firmware as not applicable. Okay, we'll fix that.
So this had to do with section 17, which actually talks about system firmware, and you said it was not applicable, which I I'm okay with, because that system firmware was actually chapter was actually inserted by OSF. No, so you're not running BIOS, I don't care. Very much like in chapter 19, which is security, that's put in by the security project. And if you don't think this stuff is applicable, that's fine too. But when within the hardware management section, right, you do need to talk about the hardware and the software, and the fact that if OpenBMC runs in it, you should have a line stating that OpenBMC does run on it. What version, and if there is additions that you make to the vanilla one that you pull off the repository, we need to know, is that being contributed back to the Linux Foundation? Where does someone get that driver to make the build complete? Because the goal of this submittal would be, oh great, I as an independent company can pull this design, use your design files, go build it, and then I will know what firmware I need to go build to go run this thing I've just built. And if they go to the Linux Foundation OpenBMC and they build it and they drop it in this firmware and it tries to talk to your whatever special chip and there are no drivers for it, then this contribution is not complete.
Agreed. We are 100% aligned on that. We plan to contribute all of our code into the OpenBMC Linux Foundation, and we can add the comment on the document as well, reflecting that. Currently, we are on 2.12 version, but if there is any kind of requirement to make it support even more later versions, we can consider those as well.
Yeah, I don't care about maintenance. I care about I built the card because you told me to build it, and now I have a full image I can drop to run it. Now, after that, it's like it's whatever maintenance you have to go worry about. So it's good that you're contributing. If that contribution is not there when this design files go out, if your company had a private repository or a public repository that they could just get this additional driver image, right? So they can pull from the Linux Foundation and then patch your stuff right on top of it before they do the build, then they now have a way to go build this image that got put on this board.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, right, through Linux Foundation, it takes time.
I know. That's why I said if you had a public repository where you could drop this thing, that would be good, because you say, yeah, Intel has the same problem, right? We don't know how long it'll take for Linux Foundation to get it. So until it's there, right? Intel has a public repository. Maybe it's a private repository, where Intel drivers are placed while they're awaiting decision by the Linux Foundation as to whether they're going to upstream it or not.
Okay, we can try. We can use the same technique.
Yeah, and just to clarify, I mostly wanted to clarify here, right? And system firmware is skipped. I didn't know it's only applicable to BIOS, but that was my intent of this comment, right? And I added the last one comment in this document saying that even if there's if Axiata intends to open source those BSP layers for Yocto for AX 2000, 3000, at least from my comment perspective, it's good enough, right? But I agree with John that if you can have a link there to even a private repo, that's awesome.
Okay. We'll do that, Casper. Thanks.
And then Chen added a couple more, I think, errata. One is a typo.
Yeah, we'll fix that. Thank you. Direction should indicate the top board signal in the. Yeah, we were
direction.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Chen.
That's what it seemed like to me. Is even for no connects, they list that they're listed as outputs, and some signals have both inputs and outputs listed.
Okay, thank you. So we'll review that carefully and update the document.
Okay, I think that's the end of the comments. So if we can get those changed, and I can work with you to create a steering committee presentation, then I think we can go ahead and make the next steering committee meeting on the 5th.
Okay, that sounds great. So we'll get back to you within a couple of days. The changes that were suggested today, and then if you can share the template and presentation, and or if you can work with you offline, that'll be great.
Okay, yeah, I can do that, and I will send me out to Rob, notify him that you're ready for the October 5th.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for
Sorry for
everyone that attending on such short notice. And thank you to Han and Archie for letting us hijack your meeting.
Right.
No problem.
Okay, Han,
Yeah,
you
so
know the rest of the agenda.
yeah. So we probably go back to OpenRMC-DM agenda. So let me share. All right, and can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So I think first and first, so we probably talk about the OCP Global Summit final deck. So Mr. Do you have the final deck? I saw Kate also, I think, made change to one of the page. So maybe I can stop sharing. So I think the only change probably is on the action page, which require update the meeting from the GoToMeeting link to the Zoom link. So we just have the change. And I think the final deck deadline will be this Friday.
Yep, I saw your email. I put this into my hours, so I will fix that by Friday. And also I will add one more slide to the presentation and then submit the presentation.
Okay.
Most likely at
Yeah,
Friday.
Right. The one slide I asked Marcia to add was, I think the last slide we had was kind of, here's OpenRMC 1.0 and 1.1. Here's how we're gonna,
Yeah.
we're aligning device manager with it. Last slide was, okay, if I'm an attendee, I'd like to know how close is device manager today to meeting 1.0, right? Is it 9 out of 10 work, and I'm working on my is working on the last one, or how much of it is working? And so that's the slide I want, is to give people, audience, an expectation of what they'll find if they were to go out to the repository and pull down an image. They may say, hey, 9 out of 10 is pretty damn good, you know. Let me start with that, and I'll work with that until the last one is fixed.
Yes, also this reminds me, so I made comments to Hamel Jeff's project summary deck. So on that deck I just mentioned, so we just have 1.1. So the original one is 1.0. So probably people might correlate this too. So yeah. So also there's a correlation between the OpenRMC spec 1.1 because the DM probably aligns still to the 1.0. Yeah. Maybe a little bit clarification on that. Yeah. Okay, so I think overall the final deck doesn't need a further change. So once we fix that one, should be okay to submit.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so so Mr. You want to talk about the DM first, or we still go through the OpenRMC agenda item? So because my have some items still need to talk about.
I think we can go with device manager first because I
Okay.
have only one thing.
Sure.
So I would like to just update you about the status of OpenRMC 1.0 implementation. So those informations will be put inside the presentation. We basically have one thing to implement, and this is one API call. It's already uploaded to the repository as a draft, and Emilia is working on that. Hopefully, we'll have that finished by the OCP Global Summit, and by that time, I want to run the Redfish validator with the profile with OpenRMC, and confirm that everything is done for the OpenRMC 1.0. So one call to do. Hopefully, it will be done before the Global Summit. Thank you.
Okay.
Good, excellent news. What I like to do is get that tagged as DM 1.0 when it's ready. So because
you mean the pull request?
there's the pull request you can do as you want, but once the pull request is in, then there's a way within GitHub to tag repository with a tag to say, hey, this is 1.0. It can be released as 1.0. And so as you make further changes to get to 1.1, someone can always go back to the repository and say, I just want the files for 1.0. And it will pull just the 1.0s out of the repository. So it's a checkpoint.
Okay, sure. I'll put that into my R's.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Dan. Thanks.
Okay. Let me share again. So I think next agenda item is, so John, you have a new hardware management project structure. Last time we shared. So my question, so regarding from overall hardware management project on that new structure, so what is your vision in on the new structure gonna impact from OpenRMC-DM perspective? So are we gonna enlarge the scope of the OpenRMC a
No,
little bit, or still keeps the original pace?
you'll keep the original scope.
Okay.
The new structure is actually not to deal with the existing sub-projects or work streams. It's the fact that there are now 4 groups trying to do work within hardware management. They've made proposals to the IC, they've been accepted. There's one for cloud service model. There's one for God, I don't remember them all. There's one for GPU manageability. There's one for a component satellite component manager. And so they're all trying to get work done. And my fear is that they will we'll have charter overlap, and we won't know it, right? If we don't define charters for these new groups, then we won't know when there's a conflict. and when there's a conflict, who actually will win? Because this GPU working body actually has a GPU RAS specification. Well, we already have a RAS API work stream. So how is the charter different, right? Is it distinct? And how will we know when they actually collapse, right? So that's the entire reason for this new structure, is not to change any existing, the existing stuff is in there just to say, hey, these are already carved out. We've already defined scope for those. We're gonna have to define new scope for these 4 additional work items. So to answer your question, nothing will change for you guys.
Okay. Thank you, John. So yeah, so okay, so actually the question is because we just have 1.1 approved, so really want to start leverage this new structure. So I thought so somehow align with our 1.2 parts focus area, we might make some change over there. Yeah. Okay. All right, so the next one will be the hardware security update. So for 1.1, so we have we have our new security session, but all the focus really remain on the authorization from software spec or firmware spec. So we still lacking of some inside security updates from our hardware security perspective. So I'm aligned to the security project. So looks like the one agenda regarding BMC security is still pushing out. So original was this week. So looks like it's still pushing to the October timeframe.
So
yeah.
So since Jeff, you're online, so if you look at the security project agenda, they have a line item called BMC hardware security, I think. And it's been on their agenda for months now, because I think it started in it was their agenda item for February, and it's been pushed out week by week, month by month. And I don't really know who's presenting it. I think she's from IBM.
Elaine.
But
yeah.
Elaine, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, can we just like invite her to a hardware management meeting and have her present there? And well, I don't know if it's getting pushed out because she's not ready.
Yeah,
or
right.
Yeah, so it's like most, security project can do what they want. Well, let's fight her here, and if she's ready, we should at least hear it before security does, right?
Yeah, and that's under the top level security project?
Oh yeah.
The main project.
Yeah, I would think that they would want to tie out with the yeah,
exactly. That's why I brought you in. So
Yeah,
anyway,
I-
I will reach out to her
Okay, great, yeah.
and invite her to our next hardware management meeting.
That would be great.
Yeah, please do. Because quite honestly, I would prefer that our main meetings have more presentations and actual, agenda items as opposed to just status roll-up. So I like to make them more fun to attend for folks, so to speak. And you bring security in, it's definitely a time for popcorn, right? So
Yeah, so it's not just related to the SASPAN platform, but also from a LAC level and for the RMC, so we do need insight from a hardware security perspective. So that item on the security project, as John said, it's already over half a year, and we do want to receive this part of updates or suggestion from that group. So yeah.
Right. So I'll do that. So also, Jeff, there's a satellite controller manageability, which got to the IC before it came to hardware management. Can I also schedule time for them to present to the hardware management?
Yes.
Project. Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. So we have because and I haven't talked to Hemel about this, but we're gonna go squeeze in 5 minutes in our intro section at Summit for them to to show what they're, since we don't have a time slot to give them, like, well, we'll give you 5 minutes in the intro to give that, hey, here's new work overview. or sorry, a new work stream.
Well, yeah, that's
But
why.
if we can do that, but if we can have them present, hopefully more than 5 minutes at the October meeting before Summit to the hardware management, I think that would be good.
Right. And I think for your overview slides for OCP Summit, if you take that structure you and I and Hemo have been looking at and use that as kind of your initial slide,
Yeah.
then that could set the landscape
Yep.
for the rest of the meeting.
I'm looking, did we? I'm sorry, we're taking up time in your agenda here. But we had see, we don't have a call. Well, because that the October call would be during Summit. Were we thinking, I thought we were gonna adjust this. We haven't done that.
We should set up a meeting to
Yeah, I think
go over that.
we'll take that up. I'll take that offline.
Okay.
But I agree, John. I think we really should have another hardware management meeting before Summit.
Okay.
Okay. So for you to figure out what time to do that. If you want to take the profile meeting for it, you can. Time slot. All right, back to you, Jake.
Yeah, so I tried to make this shorter. So I think we finished the security part. So I think the last agenda item is just very preliminary discussion of 1.2 since we already have 1.1. So so John, do you have any preliminary suggestion for 1.2
Yeah.
scope to?
Yeah,
yeah.
My preliminary suggestion is do nothing. Allow the industry, really, I mean, for 1.0 and 1.1, right? It's been this group, right,
Yeah.
trying to figure out where the industry wants to go and making, logical engineering projections, right? I like to know whether OpenRMC and DM is getting any runway, and if it is, then I expect requests to come in, right? And so if the request does not come in from the industry that, hey, we're using this and we'd like it extended this way, then that will tell us something. Right? Because we added security for you guys, right? Because I think Meta wanted it, or whoever which organization was, and we added aggregation for a particular reason for Intel. So we don't need anything in addition. So unless we get something from the outside telling us, I believe we should. We have plenty of time to wait for device manager to align with 1.0. Then it can align with 1.1, and when it does that, only then do we worry about items. So that's my suggestion. Is we bucket 1.2.
Okay. We can hold on a little bit, but I think still some area might be interested.
No,
Go ahead. Yeah. Hello?
Some areas might be interested to, yeah. There's one where we're interested because it's a nice academic discussion to go figure out, right? And then there are issues that come into the GitHub saying, I need this fixed, or I need this extended over here, right? And I expect most of someone going to utilize this and who's expecting it.
John, are you still talking?
Sorry, I seem to have dropped.
You're cutting in and out a little bit,
Yeah.
Chuck. We can hear you though.
Okay, so now I'm back. So basically, I'm back. I'm fine for bucketing and tabling this discussion until later. And I
Okay.
don't believe we should sit in a room trying to figure out what the future's going to look like.
Okay.
So that's why I think the OpenRMC meetings may not need all of them, right? Because we have two a month, and we may not need 2 a month if we're not going to deal with OpenRMC.
Yeah, we can change to 1 per month for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So, so Jeff, you're free to take one.
Yeah, I'm looking at this time slot 2 weeks from now would be a good one to grab a week early meeting for harbor management, but yeah, if we can take those slots going forward for one of these other new work streams, that might be handy.
Okay.
Okay.
So Missy, are you okay with that? So we change to 1 meeting per month, since we might head a little bit on 1.2.
I'm fine with that. Sure.
Okay. All right. So Jeff, you can take one.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Well, Hemel and I will discuss that and see what we want to do.
Sure. I think we reached end of the agenda. So yeah, thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
thank you guys.
Thanks, folks.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Bye.
it. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.